Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. Garfield Waller here, welcoming you to another evening of Rock the Mic. How is everybody this evening? I know most people must be just coming home from the pen relays or just switching stations. Pen relays seem to have been fantastic. And before we get into that, I'd love to congratulate St. Mary High on their good showing. I, for one, okay, let's leave that for another time. But good show, St. Mary High. Good show, good show. And for those who supported, thank you very much. St. Mary High's alumni will always show up. Will always show up. Well, coming from Central Florida, where it's going to be a very rainy and stormy night, we're on the thunderstorm watch till what? 2 a.m. in the morning. So, yeah, whereas the plants and the lawns really need it, we're hoping no tornadoes will strike. But guys, very eventful week, very eventful week. And if you guys are out there, if you're hearing me, I want to do a sound check. Can you let me know what is the sound like? What's the audio like, guys, before we really get into the matter? But please don't let the black screen turn you off. Don't worry, we're gonna as soon as we get into a program, we'll light it up and show you what the background will be like. I see Rosie logging on. Hi Rosie, how are you? Good. So guys, this week, for those of us who are from Port Maria, it's been a very the week ended on a very sad note. Very, very sad note. Thank you, Rosie. Uh, we lost St. Mary, Port Maria lost the stalwart. The person did not come from St. Mary. She was from Manchester. I think it was Knockpatrick. But I'm talking about none other than Miss Daisy Morgan. And Port Maria Primary, I don't know. But she was a fixture at Port Maria Primary. And let me turn on the background I'm going to be using, guys. Just a picture of the school, show you what things look like. I don't know if those are the colors they have now, but picture of Port Maria Primary. And there are three things you could be assured of were at Port Maria Primary when you turned in through that gate. One, you knew the Guinea tree was going to be there. Further up, you know the almond tree should be there. And you knew Miss Daisy Morgan was going to be there. Miss Morgan, oh my God, to lose a woman like that, she was a gem. And now I'm hoping, hi Styler, how are you? Thanks for coming on. I'm hoping we can get some of you guys putting in the comments what Miss Morgan really meant to you. How did she help you? And I'm going to open it up later for people. If you want to call in, fine. Rosie, thanks for coming. I know Miss Morgan meant a lot to you guys. But for me personally, Daisy Morgan was the supreme teacher. The supreme teacher. We from Jamaica always tend to give more accolades to the person who prepares you for common entrance. I don't know what it's called now. Maybe it's a PEP, the paper. I don't know. But the common entrance teacher always gets a glory. And Miss Morgan got a lot of it. Glory that she deserved. I'm not saying there were. I'm not saying there weren't other great teachers at Fort Mary Primary. Yes, of course, Mrs. Atterbury, Miss Brown, Mrs. Ives. I don't want to start calling names. Miss McPherson, Miss Marcia Worrell, uh, Maureen Campbell, Viviana Irving. Hey, Mrs. Downer, great teachers. But we, when all is said and done, Miss Morgan, Daisy Morgan's name is gonna rank supreme because we all think that teacher who does a common entrance is number one. So, guys, let me see in the chat. I'd like to see you put things in the chat about what Miss Morgan meant to you. Miss Morgan guided me from being a 10-year-old right up to high school. And hey, we knew, we all know she was a disciplinarian, but she made class fun. For me, she made learning fun. She made learning fun. She pushed you. Miss Morgan is gonna push you from day one. She's gonna get the best out of you, and she's gonna do it with love, kindness. Yep. Sometimes she had to get tough on you, but it was for your own good. So, guys, in the chat, just let me know. Gracie, welcome. Let me know, what did Miss Morgan mean to you? What did Daisy Morgan mean to you? And let me just put on a picture of her here. Right here, she is, Daisy Morgan. Can you imagine living to 107? Living to 107, that was good living. and she will tell you it was the Manchester Air that did it. I got tired in her class of hearing about this Knockpatrick and all the great fruits that came from Knockpatrick. In fact, it was Miss Morgan who made me want to go out and find this fruit that should boast about Ortonique. I never knew what it was until Miss Morgan started boasting about it. And I had my dad go out and get some Ortoniques, and but she would never stop talking about Knockpatrick. What do you remember about Daisy Morgan? You can put it in the chat. You can put it in the chat, guys, if you want. Let's hear it, because this woman deserves praise. And we have a style of waiting until people die before we give them their flowers. But I'm glad that a year or so ago, Miss Morgan was featured in the newspaper. That's something she deserves. And to show the love, there are students who would visit her every single year, made that drive all the way down to Knockpatrick just to visit her. Miss Basco, welcome. Lauren. So put in the chat, guys. What did Miss Morgan mean to you guys? Come on, let me know. How did Miss Morgan help you? What were your fears and dreams as you approach grade six? What were you thinking of? Because trust me, we all heard a lot about this woman. We all saw her in action daily. But were you afraid to go into grade six, or were you looking forward to it? Let me hear what you think. What were you thinking? Come on, don't be afraid. Put your words in the chat, guys, and let's see. Let's pay homage to this woman. Let's pay homage to this woman. 107 years old. That's some living. She saw it all. Can you imagine through World War One, World War Two? Miss Morgan was there. Miss Morgan saw everything. And she would tell you about her experiences from she was a little girl. And there are times in class we would just sit spellbound, just listening to her. It was fantastic hearing from this lady. So, Basco, Rosie, Elsuna, welcome, man. Welcome. I thought you were back in Jamaica. You're coming from Delaware. Rosie, Gracie, Miss Bernard, Michelle Thompson. Come on, why don't you be brave enough and put your thoughts out there? What did Daisy Morgan mean to you? Was she the best you had? If not, let me know who you think was the best. Let me know. And in case you want, I'd love to try a phone call in. So there's a number on the screen. We should get that working. So I don't know if anybody wants to be the first to go ahead and try. I'd love to even. I wish we could get somebody who worked with her, like a co-worker, a fellow teacher, to hear what Miss Morgan was like. Because I'm sure we saw it. We saw her from the student's perspective. I'd like to hear, well, one of her co-workers, what did they think of Daisy Morgan? How was she with them? Was she the same way she was with the students when it came to dealing with the teachers? Because certainly she was one of the senior teachers. She was here longer than almost anybody. And so, I mean, that level of respect would come from the younger teachers. But I'd love to hear from one of them. What do you think? There's a number on the screen, guys. I'm hoping it will work. So if you're brave enough, fine, go ahead. Yes, Styler, she introduced you to words and meanings. That's where I became interested in the big vocabulary. Oh my God, you really learned them because at Mirza, you used to bust your brains with them. Yes, Styler, you were a linguist. You were a linguist, man. And you credit Miss Morgan for that. You were a linguist. Man, I was not good in math. And what I used to dread is coming in right after the lunch break. And you knew right after lunch, as soon as you got back in class, you knew it was math time, tables. And Miss Morgan would grill you from six times up to, oh my gosh, that was a very frightening period for me because the questions are coming at you machine gun style, and that's the way she wanted the answers. And after a while, you got used to it. Yeah, it was scary. Rosie, you didn't attend the greatest prayer. You didn't attend Fort Mary the greatest. I guess you had Mrs. Henlin. Oh, okay, good, good, good. You still had somebody great at the helm, but I'm sure you've heard about Daisy Morgan. So, Styler, you were brave enough to say, hey, She introduced it due to words and meanings, vocabulary. Yes, you could not be reading a book and get to a new word and not know the meaning. She's gonna stop you. Go to the dictionary. And you had to go to the dictionary. You had to find the word and learn how to spell it. Daisy Morgan was no joke, and she was no joke. But as strict as she was, I think all the students loved her. As strict as she was, I think all the students loved her. Guys, if you look on the screen, there's a WhatsApp number. I don't know who wants to try and tell me about their experiences with Daisy Morgan. WhatsApp 347-225-4654. I'd love to see if it works. But I don't believe that Styla is the only one who's gonna say what happened with him and Miss Morgan. But man, she could listen. That stare, that angry stare, could transfix you from across the room. And in another minute, that laugh would have the whole class cracking up. And she was not above making fun of some of the students. Yeah, that lady saw a joke and everything. And Rosie telling started to call her. Yes, Rosie, I know if you went to Portmore Primary, you would call in, but I'm so sorry you didn't get the opportunity to come to Portmore Primary. Yeah, so I'd love for somebody to try the line and let's see if it works. I would love even a former co-worker to call it. Daisy Morgan. And I've always wondered, I never got a chance to ask her, why did she leave Manchester and come all the way to Port Murray? Because I know there are schools in Manchester who would have benefited from her. But we're glad we had her because you didn't come to Mearside and not really pass through Miss Morgan's hand. Few people did that. Few people came to St. Mary and not come through and Port Murray Primary and not be touched by Miss Morgan. And I've spoken to people who said, look, Miss Morgan taught their parents, Miss Morgan taught them, and Miss Morgan taught their kids. Three generations. I'm sure she must have gone through four generations in some instances because almost everybody in Port Mary can tell you, yes, Miss Morgan taught me. Miss Morgan did this. Miss Morgan did that. The only the only area I think Miss Morgan was lacking in was when it came to music. Uh, I don't think she played the piano because there were many times when we were doing music and we wanted her to play, and she said no, that was something she couldn't really do. But she was also heavily involved in the church. She was also involved in the church. Uh, I don't hold on. I'm checking another computer at home here, and nothing is showing up. Let me see. Hold on. Let me see here. Give me a minute. Log off, log on again. Try that. Okay, yes, one of the computers in the home, nothing is showing up. But I think for the other people here, they're watching it on the stream. Come on, somebody be brave enough. Come on, just a little conversation. One of the okay, Basco. Thank you, Lorraine. She meant much to me. She wasn't just my grade 6 teacher. She was my Sunday school teacher at Portmore United Church. Yes, Miss Morgan went to Portmore United. She had a way of imparting knowledge in a simple way. You just had to grasp the concept she taught. Her interpretation of Bible stories was great. Still cemented in my brain. I emulated her as a teacher. I'm grateful I had her in my life. A lot of people think like that, Lorraine. I never had a chance to have her in Sunday school because I went to Baptist. But whenever it came time for religious knowledge, oh my God, she was on point. She was on point. She never just gave you the knowledge, but she invited the questions. She wasn't one of those teachers who didn't want you to challenge her. If you had questions about anything, yes, come with them because she would be glad to, go through it and see where you were right, where you were wrong, where you went off track. Supreme teacher. And Rosie Bernard she believed in the students and pushed them to learn, even if it meant using. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Listen, some people think, oh, spanking is bad. No, no. Listen, A little bit whooping is good sometimes, but I got some of it. I got some of it, and I can tell you, Miss Mo- Miss Morgan touched me, touched me a couple of times. I remember the first week, my first week at in Portmore Primary. I'm coming from some bush school in St. Catherine, Brownsall Primary, and here I come to this big city. And I think it was the third day, new kid and everything. Miss Morgan had a rule that listen, if you go outside and play for recess or lunch, do not enter her class sweating. Your shirt could not be wet. Now, for me, it's my third day in school. I really didn't know the rules. So I go out and we play cherry chase. And I come back in dripping with sweat. Miss Morgan decided, okay, you're gonna learn the hard way, you're gonna cut my rump. And she come to me and I had to get ready. And just as she's about to spank me, I think it was Janet Jenkins said, Miss Morgan, don't you know who that is? Don't you know who his father is? His father is the principal of Portmore. I said, Miss Morgan look at her and turn back and started whooping and start beat me to the rhythm. I do not care who your father is. I never I never forget that day. And then after that, I carry a spare t-shirt in my bag. So make sure that no matter how we play, I'm not going anywhere because I'm not going through that again. But listen, she would spank you 1 minute and next minute she would have you laughing. And Styler, okay, okay. Yeah, oh, Lauren, she rode the bicycle well. She sat upright while riding. It was something to have seen. I think I, I think I've only seen her on, on that bicycle once. I only seen her once. But I always thought she was just a strict, tough person. Until one evening we were stoning the Guinea. I know Mr. Nick had the bees the bees hive under the Guinea tree, and I got stung in my face a couple of times. And she took me and treated me very gently and everything. I didn't know that there was that side to her. But Miss Morgan was a joy to have, man. In fact, those three grade six teachers was it Miss Morgan, Miss Brown, I can't remember the other one. I know Miss Ives was down in fifth grade, Miss Atterbury third grade. But you know what, guys? At Portmore Primary, we were blessed with great teachers. I don't know about other schools, but I know at Portmore Primary we had some darn good teachers. They could have gone anywhere. They could have gone anywhere and taught. But the principals, Mr. Nick, then Mr. Thompson, then who is it, Miss Miss Irving. They had a knack of finding good talent, finding good teachers, and matching them to the right classes. In fact, when you look at some principals, it's a skill to know who would fit where. Grace said there are many teachers that put at primary that I have high respect for. Starting with Miss Betty Davis. Oh yeah, I remember Miss Betty Davis, grade three, Miss Atterbury, Miss Ives, and of course Miss Morgan. Spent 2 years in Miss Morgan class. Couldn't have asked for a better common engineers teacher. Yeah. Oh gosh, man, Miss Morgan. I listen. Every primary school in Jamaica has their top grade six teacher. I don't care where you go, Clarendon, Westman, and people look up to that grade six teacher. And I would dare say we could put Miss Morgan up against anybody from anywhere, even them big stush private schools from Kingston. I think Miss Morgan would have held her own and maybe outshone a lot of them. She was that good. She was that good. Like Rosa said, she made everything simple. She made everything simple in her direct way of doing things. Not big words and fancy analogies. Miss Morgan could break it down in a way that everybody could learn. Everybody. I don't care where the kid come from. I don't care what socio-economic background that child had. Miss Morgan would just make sure you learned it. And she didn't mind spending extra time on it. If you want, there are many times I had to give up my lunchtime to learn a concept because math was my Achilles heel. And Roses, and we had to make sure that after recess you could answer mental reasoning questions or yep, especially after lunch. That timetable was oh my gosh. Sometimes you're outside playing and you listen, in 10, 15 minutes, you got to go into, you know, go do that timetable. And no matter how hard you play, your clothes had better be neat. When you go in class, your shirt had better be tucked in. The only time we got a little break from Miss Morgan was, I don't know if you guys remember Wednesdays when the girls went to their sewing and the boys went to maybe gardening or something like that. Who was it? We had Mr. Duncan. Mhm. Well, you got a little break, and then sometime you come back in. She wanted to write an essay about what you did. Oh my gosh, that one kept you working. She kept you working. Karen is here. Karen, you like Miss Sims? But come on, guys, what did Miss Morgan mean to you, and who is gonna be the first one to try the phone call? I'm hoping one of her former co-workers. Oh gosh, I wish this is one of the times when I wish Ivy was still around with us, because I know I could count on Ivy to come on and regale us with stories about Miss Morgan, because there must have been some. There must have been a lot of stories about this great woman. But you heard about her in her church, United. You heard about Miss Morgan in church. She was always front and center, always front and center. And oh, the other grade six teacher, I can't remember who it was Karen at that time. I can't. I remember Miss Brown. I don't remember who was the other one. But regardless of who was the other one, they prepared us. They prepared us well, because almost everybody from that grade six class was guaranteed a seat at the Mary's Eye or Marymount, wherever you wanted to go. I'm proud to say Miss Sims. I can't put a face to that name now. But guys, anybody else? Yes, Mr. Mayor, replying to Rosemary Booth. uh, I know, I know. Ian Muir would come in this thing, come spoil it up by trying to divert it. So, serve you right. Me said, yeah, me said, let me put it on you. Go. Sir, no, you, no, cat, you deserve it. I know you. You deserve it. Miss Brown 6B and Miss Brian 6C. Yeah, I think that was her name, Brian. Yeah, cat, you deserve it, man. You deserve it. Okay, Sandra White Shaw. She was not on my, but she was a Sunday school teacher. Okay, Sandra. Oh yeah, you better know that. The golden text. Yeah, but when the golden text was one thing, it was after lunch, man. Timetables. And sometimes you come in. She would not ask you two times, three times. It's about we start at 6 or 7. But sometimes you come in and you expect her to start at the lowest number, and she just hit you with 9 times, 11 times, 12. Oh my gosh, Miss Morgan was. But she really did a number on us. And even years after I left school and started teaching, hey, I still had that respect for, for this woman. I remember one evening I'm driving in the school compound. I went to pick up my fiance, number one. And one of Marcy's friends shouted something to me. With my rude self, I shouted back something obscene. And I didn't see Miss Morgan. And from across the little bridge, Garfield Waller, what did you say? Oh my God, I jammed the brakes so hard. And I right there, I had to apologize. I had to apologize. 'Cause I didn't see her, but she still had she still had that hold on you that, oh my God, even when you were an adult, you still had to, yes, Miss Morgan. No, Miss Morgan. Oh, yes, Joe, I'm glad you're here. Grade 6 teacher, one of the best. I sit beside Peter Adams. Okay, Troy. She was one of my late sister Ivy's best friend. No, yeah. This is one of the times I wish I miss Ivy, because I know Ivy would be able to tell us some real stories about Miss Morgan. But anybody else, come on, guys, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. You had her as a teacher in school and at Sunday school. She was a neighbor to a lot of you guys. I'd love to hear some more stories of Miss Daisy Morgan. And Grace, I remember the class having to write an essay on the floods after the Outram River overflowed its banks. She got me interested in crossword puzzle. Oh, when I came to Port Moresby, when I heard everybody talking about Ochum, Ochum. And one day in class, I pronounced it Ochum, and she gave me that scornful look, and it's out from. And she made me spell it over and over. And I wonder, what kind of fool name? Out from. She said, don't ever let me hear you say that again. And she gave me a lesson in the river and the history of old Port Maria. But she was like that. She used every moment that she could was a teachable moment for her. Every moment, no matter where you were, she's gonna find some way of making you learn something from that moment. That's the type of person she really was. I, it was O-U. She said OUTRUM. But I don't know people that's called it Ochum. Oh, anybody? No, the girls would remember this. Anybody remember going behind the? I wish Fitzroy were going behind the building and those boys catching fish in that muddy, in that muddy water and coming in covered in mud. Oh, that was another thing. You be catching guys trying to catch crab. Oh my God! Don't come in Miss Morgan's class with any mud on your foot or hand. You're gonna pay for it. You are gonna feel it. You are gonna feel it. But I remember she was great friends with what's her name? Remember Mrs. Powell or his mom? Yeah. They were very good friends. Yes, Rosie. In those gutters, oh my God. How those guys went in that muddy water. I don't know. And to scare you out of the water, they would tell you that it's the water that's draining from a hospital. Oh my God, poor her. But on a side note, boys, the boys in the style, have you ever seen that game that we played at Portmore Primary being played anywhere else in Jamaica? The game we call Chevy Chase. Have you ever seen it? I've never encountered it anywhere else. And I remember Miss Morgan would stand on the corridor and watch us play. And when the game was over and we went up, she would give us tips about what we did wrong, what we did right, who should run here, who should run there. Yeah. Yeah, she was into sports too. She was into sports. She was into sports. Daisy Morgan, Manchester, not Patrick, I think the place. And she would brag on this place, how the climate is. Oh, I remember what was the word she used, salubrious or something like that. Oh my gosh! Yes, yeah, it was a closing to a relay, but I've never seen it anywhere else. Never heard anybody else in the island talk about that game. Chevy Chase. I think we put more of a patent on, on that event. But then coming back, how do you? What kind of life? What kind of physical condition you have to be in to be able to live to 107? No, I don't know if most of us, you know, put that through our minds. 107, and I hear people say that when they went to look for her, the mind was still sharp. The mind was still sharp, and I think it was who was it? I saw Lambert put something on one year that he went to visit her, and she remembered the nickname that she had for him when he was in grade 6. At the time she was like 102, 103. And the mind was just still razor sharp. Razor sharp. I know Gene Martin used to go visit her almost every birthday. And there are a few people like that who, remained close to her, kept her close. Yes, Tyler, that is true. There was no excuse for not doing homework. Dr. Stitches, Mr. Nick. Imagine, oh yes, the way she dressed, professional. Miss Morgan, you never saw Miss Morgan that dressed as a teacher. You never saw that. In fact, the teachers at Portmore were like that. Teachers at Portmore were like that. All dressed professional. All dressed professional. Miss Morgan was the leader in that. Never saw anything outlandish or no. You once you looked at her, you knew this woman is a teacher, a supreme teacher. Supreme. But come on, guys, there have to be a few stories you have of Daisy Morgan. Have to be a few. I don't know if she have any siblings. Do you know? Did she have any siblings? Because I never really heard her speak of any. Never really heard her speak of any siblings. And nobody knows. And did she have any brothers, sisters, or what? Because she spent most of her time in Portmore. White tops and brown skirt. And those ladies dressed like real ladies. Jackie Morgan. Is that an older or younger sibling, Stella? Because I really never heard of any. I really never heard her mention any. Manchester. To her, that was the only parish in Jamaica. Manchester. You heard about it. She made sure you heard about it every. Oh, Jackie was her niece. I don't remember. Don't really remember Jackie. I doesn't really. The name doesn't ring a bell. But okay. Yes, Joy. Yes, Joy. I know. Yes, I remember that chant. I remember that chant. Daisy Morgan can't play the organ. Because I think that was the only thing she couldn't do. She she was not musical. Yes, I remember that chant. Daisy Morgan can't play the organ. But not in her. But I think if she heard it, she would have found it funny. She would have found it very funny. Yes, I remember. Who used to play the piano at school? It was Mr. Nick, and I think Miss Brown played also. But Miss Morgan played a great part in helping to prepare the, the little choirs for festival. Yeah, I remember they wanted me to come in the group to sing a festival, but my voice just broke. My voice just uh, broke, and I just couldn't hit the high notes again. Couldn't hit the high notes again. But oh my God, if only Ivy were here. If anybody else could, I'd love to hear from a coworker. Maureen Campbell, Marcia Worrell. One of them could just call in and let's see if this WhatsApp thing will work. And tell us about what you remember about Daisy. Yes, it was her niece, Jacqueline Barnes. Where did she live? In Port Maria or was she in Manchester? Where did this Jackie live? Because I can't remember this person. I don't remember this person. Jacqueline Barnes. This man's one of the people one of the people we respected. Miss Morgan. I and you know who else we really respected too, even though we left them years before? Miss Palmer from Little School, Miss Edwards. I found that woman was really respected too, because almost everybody from Portmore came through her hands. Yes, Joy should have invited Miss. Or she brought Jackie from Manchester. I don't remember. I don't remember her. I don't remember her. Yes, I maybe overlooked Miss Irving because this thing came up so sudden. Just heard the news Friday when it was a Friday morning and decided, you know what? Let me go on and say something on Saturday. Jackie went to. I don't remember her style. Was she ahead of us or behind us then? Oh, Velma, thanks for coming on. Miss Mong was a stalwart in the teaching industry in her time. Brilliant woman, legend in her time. Oh my God, she caught with a you put in your pocket. Oh my God. Oh Lord. You lucky it wasn't hot, huh? You lucky it wasn't hot. Oh God. Oh, God. Oh, well, man, Miss Mother was fun, man. I remember when what's her name? What that girl named Cheryl Francis used to make those candy and come and sell us. And oh gosh, if Miss Morgan caught you eating that, you were dead. Oh, when I was in first fifth form, she was in first. Oh, I, I don't remember her then. What? It was it, it was hot, Wilma. So how did you survive in class with that? How did you survive knowing this thing is burning you and you can't eat it? What was that like? What was that episode like, Vilma? Oh my gosh. And I can't believe Miss Morgan didn't give you the opportunity to step outside and eat the darn patty. Oh my gosh. Yeah, sometimes we used for lunch, you buy a serve me long or something like that, and you better eat it done before you get in class. So I guess you learned your lesson from then, Velma. No more. You buy your patty, you eat it off quickly before you come inside. Daisy Morgan, Daisy Morgan, a legend. Like Velma said, a legend. She was when she left Port Maria. Port Maria lost a great teacher. Oh, Rosie, I wanted to be in big school before my time, and they would catch me. Oh my, oh Lord, everybody wants to be in big school, man. Yeah, yes, I guess everybody in the lower classes too really wanted to get up to grade six to experience Miss Morgan. Some were in awe, some lived in fear of Miss Morgan because there were times that look could just that stare. That stare could be like Medusa sometimes, put fear into you. But I, I don't believe she was really like that at heart. I think that was just part of her teacher face because some of us were very unruly. Honestly, some of us were really unruly, and we had to be really put in our place. She put the fear of God into you. But I'm telling you, she en- she encouraged people to, let their personality shine through. She didn't want you to be stifled. She didn't want the students to be cookie cutters, to be clones. She would encourage your individuality. If you were a joker in class, trust me, after work is done, she would encourage that to come out. If you had artistic talent, mhm. Rosie Bernard, I was literally afraid of her. Yeah. oh, oh, gosh, I, I don't think I was afraid of. I don't think it was just free. I was more afraid of being embarrassed. I was more afraid of being embarrassed by some of those math questions. But physically, she didn't really, really, really scare me. I mean, how could I be scared knowing who my dad was? Nothing else going to scare me. but, but I was always afraid in math class she's gonna pick on me to ask me some of these tough math questions. Oh my God, that was my fear. So I when the math thing started, no, I would the first couple of questions I'd put my hand up because I figured should start out easy and then build up. And if I answered the first few ones, she would pick on me again. Oh, hi Carol, how are you? A great teacher, legend. No match. Everyone respected her. Yeah, I, I really want to know what the other teachers thought of her. That's my big thing. What did the other teachers think of her? I'd love to know that. What did the other teachers think of her? Especially the younger ones just coming out of college. How did they see her? Did they see her as a mentor? Did they see her as somebody they could emulate, or did they see her as some of us youngsters coming out of college think of these people as dinosaurs? They have done their days, they should go. I'd love to know what was the thought process when you were confronted with people like Daisy Morgan, Miss Atterbury, Miss Brown. Did you learn from them? Could you learn from them? Yeah, yes, Velma, is true. Manchester was like the best in every blink. it got to the point where I could not stand when this woman brought up anything about Manchester. I got to the point where I hated Manchester. Manchester had the best this, the biggest that, the brightest this. Oh, Joy, thank you, Joy. I would love for her to come on. I would love for her to come on. But man, this woman on Manchester should have given her some contractors or to for tourism because that's all she spoke about. Manchester, Manchester. Manchester, and the Ortoniques from Manchester. Yeah, if you're a chatterbox like me, she would she'd watch you like a hawk. Yeah, and hey, you know what? It seemed like she had eyes in the back of her head. It seemed because sometimes she passed, you'd wait until she passed, and then you'd do something, and then she'd just call you out, and you'd wonder, how the heck did she? How did she, how did she know that? But it seemed like she had eyes in the back of her head. Another thing she could pick up on quickly in class is which boy like which girl or which girl like what. Oh yeah, she picked up on that really really quickly, really quickly, and should make her comments to sort of embarrass her sometimes, because you didn't want Miss Morgan knowing which girl you liked or whatever, because she could tease the heck out of you on that. She could tease you, and listen, she was a playful person because I remember sometimes when she met my dad, she would be like, "I have some things to discuss with you, sir." And oh my God, you start trembling. You start, yes, we really have to talk. I wanted to talk to you all week. And you're watching her like, what they in trouble now, and then she would come up with some other some other thing and look at you and grin. That time you're there fretting because you're thinking, oh God, I'm going to get a beating. But Miss Morgan was cool. One thing I liked with her was when she handed back your book, you couldn't really tell. No kid could tell who really got the top marks because she never embarrassed a kid like that by the way some teachers would wave the papers with a low score in the ear. Miss Morgan would fold the book. She would have her make her little comment inside the book and give it to you. She never really embarrassed you. She never. You could score a 5 out of 100. Nobody else is gonna know unless you tell them. And she would talk you up like you got the highest in the class. That's one thing I really learned from her and admired. This girl, she had eyes in the back of her head. Eyes in the back of her head, man. And then in the mornings when she take you through some of that blue book we use. Oh my God. Oh my God. There's a blue book we used to use. Is it First Aid in English? First, and then the other one, the Student's Companion, and you had to know all those sayings, all those poems, oh gosh, that I love because that was up my street. But she would start one of the sayings and you had to finish it. She would say the ending, you had to start. Oh my God, this woman knew ways of keeping you on point. No, no, wait, Velma. Teacher Penny she didn't cut us no slack. She didn't cut us no slack. Myself, the Atterberries, and who else was it? No, we that woman never cut us no slack at all. I wasn't really terrified because I, wa- my dad would beat me too, and if I can take my dad's leg, so look at me small guy now, it can't hurt me. Yeah, student companion, first aid in English and stuff like that. And then another thing, you remember the children's zone, and you had to have a pen pal from some other country, and she'd make you write these fantastic letters, and she had to read them before you mail them off. Yep, I remember her doing that. You need a pen pal, you gotta choose one. You gotta choose one from England, France, or wherever, and you gotta write them. And your English, I better be good. Good sentence structure, good subject, verb. Oh my God. Because before you put it in that envelope to mail it off, she's going to read it. She is going to read it. You had a pen pal from Ohio. I had two. I can't remember where the heck they're from. Oh, Velma, you look like you didn't give a lot of trouble, Velma. You look like you were a troublemaker. You were a troublemaker. No, it's more just fun being in Morgan's class sometimes. Very, very, very nice time. We enjoyed it. We enjoyed it. But I was with a fun group. Honestly, I was with a fun group. Yeah, your penmanship. Oh my gosh, you can't write. You can't make it go below the line or float above the line. It had to be on the line, and that was my weakest thing, my penmanship. Today it still is. If I write cursive, no, you can't understand it. I really have to print everything because I couldn't do that flowing. Oh my God! And she had great writing, especially on the blackboard. I couldn't do it, but yeah, man, she would. That penmanship had to be on point. Your paragraphs had to be well structured, or you're going to do it again. You're going to do it again. But the bane of my existence in Miss Morgan's class, guys, was guess what? And I'm sure it hampered a lot of you too. That blinking fountain pen. Who had a fountain pen? who had a who had a fountain pen? Because the amount of my uniform them spoil up, my khaki pants spoil up because of the bloody fountain pen. And my writing got smudged down. I couldn't use it. I could not wait to get out of her class. Oh my god. But didn't know you write with a fountain pen, guys? Did any of you write with a fountain pen in Miss Morgan's class? Because I started out with the bottle of ink and you put it in that little hole in the desk. But mm-mm, I think that's the worst thing for kids, especially when you had that bottle and you had to put the pen in it and then pull a little lever at the side for it to suck up the ink. And then they came in with a fountain pen with a cartridge, that little plastic cartridge you put in, you screw it in, and it you had the ball in it to stop the ink flow. Oh my God, that was the worst. I couldn't use it. I could not use it. Ink was all over my clothes. Ink was all over my clothes. Yes, man, that fountain pen messed me up. That's my Mohammed. I wish you would come in the chat, man. Yeah, that fountain pen was a mess. I think it was the worst thing invented for students. Worst thing ever. I couldn't use it. By the time I finished one sentence, ink was all over my hand. Ink was all over my hand. Could not use that fountain pen. And my writing was so bad that Miss Morgan made me use one of the double line. I was one of the only people in sixth grade using one of the double line books. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Because my penmanship sucked. So, but I used to admire the way she wrote on the board. Oh my God! In fact, all of them Portman teachers, the way they wrote on that, I don't know how they did it. The smooth, flowing, nice curves to the letters. Oh God, the letters sat on the line. Couldn't do it. And even as a teacher today, I still don't have the best handwriting. I print everything, every letter separate. I can't do that join up thing, man. Can't do that join up. I remember once with the pen pal thing, she encouraged all of us to have a signature. Today, today my signature is the worst thing ever because I couldn't do all that flourish, and we had to put that signature on and send it to. Oh my lord, pen pal. I wonder if they still do those things. Do kids still other those text and no WhatsApp? But I think we, from people like Miss Morgan, we were well grounded. We got a good solid foundation. And I think we're thankful for it. I can't think of any student who would say, "Oh, that messed them up for life." No, I don't. I don't think so. And one of my proudest moments, honestly, was sounds simple, but one of my proudest moments was to have Mrs. Morgan at my wedding. That was one of my proudest moments to have her there because she had done so much for she had done so much for me, so much. She would watch me. I remember times Miss Morgan would stop me and tell me, "Mr. Water, you're driving too fast. So your speed pass, no, slow it down." Yeah, yes, Belma, Facebook, no more pen pal. People, that was good. And the anticipation of getting that letter, after school. I had to be in lessons. Yeah, you had to be in lessons. And so, oh God, yeah, man, lessons after class. You have to come back to scholarship lessons and all that thing. Oh my gosh. Hmm. We looked at it as trauma, but we look it really helped us. It really helped us. We have nothing to complain about. We have nothing to complain about. And sometimes I look back and say, if I could relive some of my younger days, what, what, what period would it be? And yes, that grade six, primary, fun time. Really fun time. Really fun. Velma, stop. Velma, Velma, stop that. No, she meant a lot to me, and she and my wife taught at the school. So, oh my God, Velma, yeah. No one, no one of them, they put pat in your pocket. Oh Lord, it's funny. This is funny, man. But I listen, if people are shy to come out and speak, I'm sure if we were together in a group, we'd hear a lot more stories. I'm sure we would hear a lot more stories about this woman. A lot more. What did she call her strap again? Anybody remember? What was the name she gave that strap? Does anybody remember? Anybody remember the name of her strap? I can't remember what it was called. I can't remember what she had a little pet name for it. But when she said, "Go get that," oh my God, you knew she meant business. And I can't remember her. I can't remember her really raising her voice and shouting. Anybody can? This is a true story. Me and my friend used to think she had. Yeah, that's true, Styler. I think every kid at Fort Mary Primary thought they were married or something like that. Every I said it to her. I said it to her once, when I was teaching at Fort Mary. I said, she said, "Oh, they were just good friends, great friends." Yes, but every kid from Port Mary thought that. Oh, same thing, Rose. Oh God, Mr. Nick, he was another character. Oh gosh, Mr. Nick, and moving those bees box under that guinea tree. Only at Port Mary, only at Port Mary Primary, Port Maria. What did that? What color is the school now? Because that picture of the background, I don't know if it's a recent picture. I think the school has changed colors because I remember seeing something in the flood and it wasn't that blue. It wasn't that blue color. It wasn't that blue color. But I remember as a kid at Port Mary. I think upstairs it was high as hell. I thought it was to me to go fall off that place, fall downstairs. That would look like a mile down. Looking at it now, oh God, Fort Murray Primary, Miss Daisy Morgan, fixture at that school. But can you imagine how many principals came and went? I wonder how many principals she actually served under. Mr. Nick, Mr. Thompson. Can anybody remember who came after Mr. Thompson? Anybody remember who was after Mr. Thompson? Can't remember who came after him, but I'm sure there was another two, and Miss Morgan was still there. Miss Morgan was you knew, but I had people telling me that, hey, Miss Morgan taught their parent, and Miss Irvin came after Mr. Thompson, and who was after Irvin? And can you tell me when did Miss Morgan leave? Under whose stewardship did Miss Morgan retire? Yep, running down that stairs was taboo, man. That was taboo. Running on the corridor, taboo also. Shirt in your pants. Oh God. Yes. Miss Donna was next after Miss. Did Miss was Miss Morgan still teaching when Miss Kennedy? I don't know. Was Miss Morgan still teaching when Miss Donna was principal? Anybody knows? Was Miss Morgan still a teacher when Miss Donna was principal? Because she must have gone through. She must have served under four principals, I believe. On the four. I could not believe it when I asked somebody about Portmore Primary and they said, "Oh, Miss Morgan had retired. Miss Morgan was back in Manchester." Couldn't really believe it. Couldn't really believe it. But like I said, we had people who kept on visiting her. Jean Martin. In fact, that picture look at that arm around her shoulder. That's speak of the angel and she appears. You say angel. Yes, Jean. I tell you that, and that arm around your shoulder is yours. I had to cut you out of the picture. Didn't want to see you in it. But Jean, what's your best memory of Daisy Morgan? What's your best memory of Miss Daisy Morgan, Jean? Sorry to throw this on you as you come in, but what is your best memory? And what does she mean to you, Miss Jean? Oh, Belle, oh, what star? What Belle? We paid her visit when she was 102, and this lady did not forget anything. Anybody know? Oh my gosh, that mind was yeah. I heard her mind was always razor sharp, razor sharp. Glenn, glad to have you in the house, man. Gene, what's your best memory of Miss Morgan? Did you ever get spanked, Gene? No, I bet Gene never gets spanked. Any spanking for you, Glenn? Or you were one of them good boys? Let's hear it, guys. Come on. Precise and exact. Wait, oh yeah, Gene, you know, yes. I mean, what Vilma going to say about this now? Gene never got touched. Gene never got touched. Yes, I remember one of my hardest lessons, toughest lesson was when it came to geometry. When it came to geometry, and she wanted, yes, accuracy, yes, she wanted those angles precise. Once I draw a 45-degree angle, isn't that the house of putting up? I can't see why it couldn't be like 43 but I should take the blinking protractor and take it and measure. Oh gosh. Couldn't stand that, man. Line must be 3 inches long and this from point to point. Geometry was like, oh gosh. And then matters worse, me lose everything that the geometry said. No spanking for me. Yeah, yeah, that was the thing. The girls hardly got touched. Why? The girls hardly got. Yeah, I can't really remember girls getting any of this shot. I think that was sexist. The boys always me, Rupert Cross, Atterbury, all of them. But never kill us. Made us better, honestly. Made us better. So, Belle, what's your best memory of Daisy Morgan? She's a girl. Because you're well behaved foot. Nope. Some of you girls were worse than the boys. Some of you girls were worse than we were. Just like you were able to hide it better. You were able to, hide it much better. But for those who know Miss Morgan, is that where she always lived? In that house near to Mr. Nick, right there. Is that where Miss Morgan always lived, or was she residing somewhere else and then moved there? Because I was wondering, is that where this woman has lived all these years and by herself? That used to puzzle me. Because I thought she lived somewhere else in Portman and then moved there. Timetable, reading aloud, yeah. Reading aloud, and you better not mispronounce any of them words. You better not mispronounce any word. I know some kids today have a habit of they meet a new word that they don't know and they say, "What should I call it?" Stop. Get your dictionary. Oh, okay. That's where she always lived. Okay. Okay. Wait, my first year in Portman, you know who I used to confuse? I used to confuse Miss Morgan. I always thought she was sisters with, what's her name, Miss Wilmot. I don't know Miss Wilmot who went Baptist. I knew she lived in that teacher's cottage. She always lived there. Wow. Miss Morgan. Daisy Morgan can't play the organ. Oh my gosh. But know that she's gone. I wonder who, who she leaves behind, apart from that young lady Jackie. And I wonder how many people from Portmore will be able to make that funeral. And I hope we hear about some funeral arrangements soon. That would be good if some of our past students and co-workers could really make it down to Knockpatrick. But she moved away for so long. I wonder how well she was known in that area. I would dare say that she's better known in Portmore than she is known in Manchester. I'm sure of that. I'm sure of that. Anyway, I wish we knew a little bit more about her, like her schooling. Where did she go to school and stuff like that? That's something. Those are something we should have found out. Where did she go to school? Was it in Manchester? Or she went somewhere else before. I'd love to have found out that the route she took to get to Portmore Primary. And some, yes, Gene, some grandnieces and nephew. Okay. Velma, go to your bed. Velma, go to your bed. We're going to put that on a patty in your pocket. Oh, Lord. Oh, God. This Morgan. Anyway, guys, we have Gene. We're sorry you came in so late, but we have been on the air now for over an hour, and like like everyone here, we Miss Morgan really, Miss Morgan really touched us. We learned a lot from her, and some of what we learned, I'm sure we have imparted to our kids. I have copied some of her techniques in my own classroom too, and I know she will not be forgotten. She will never be forgotten. Oh, she went to church teachers college. Okay. Oh, church. Macadam. Okay, so she's a church teachers college young lady. Okay, yeah, Jean, you were very close to her, and I guess you're close because she never touched you. She never touched you up with. Is it she who call it Doctor Itchit Scratch It? I can't remember the name of that strap. Can't remember the name of it. Yeah, but like I said, guys, let's keep her memory alive. We need to keep her memory alive. And like Lorna Dennis, welcome Lorna. Yeah, may she sleep in eternal peace. I doubt it because she gonna hear her name ring all over the place. Miss Morgan's name is gonna be mentioned all over. Okay, posted in St. Mary. But supreme teacher, creme de la creme. Creme de la creme. When anybody thinks of a teacher, hey, Miss Morgan should come to mind. Miss Morgan and the kids who never got a chance to experience her teaching. Wow, you missed a lot. You missed a lot. Because this woman was, yeah, Dr. Itchit. I know Jean would remember. Dr. Itchit. Yes, she had that little mother strap. Dr. Itchit. And Mr. Nix was Dr. Stitches. Oh my God, Miss Morgan, Daisy Morgan, we are gonna miss you, Madam. You will be missed. You will be missed. So, ladies and gentlemen, come to the end of another night, and this great lady, this great lady from Manchester, Daisy Morgan. So, guys, let's do what she would have wanted us to do. Let's impart that knowledge to basically anybody who can and will learn. And let's keep your memory going. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for coming on. Thank you very much for supporting Rock the Mic. Next week, I want to talk about some vacation in Jamaica, like some Airbnbs. I want to know if you have an Airbnb, if you have a villa, if you have a guest house and you want to promote it, let's come on next week because there are people who want to come down, including myself, people want to come down in, say, July and August, and we need somewhere to stay. So if you have somewhere that you can rent out, come on, let us know. Show your pictures, send the pictures to me, and let's talk about it and see, you know, what we can do. See if we can help each other. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Garfield Waller here, Rock the Mic. All you guys, thank you. Thanks for keeping Miss Morgan's memory alive. Peace out. Have a great night. Be safe. Thank you.